Hi, it's Nick from UK Gardening. These baskets have been great over the summer, but I've actually had to empty a lot of the baskets to put my winter bedding in. And these fuchsias are tender, so they won't actually survive outside for the winter, so I really need to put them away. You can store these either in a cold greenhouse in a dormant state, or in a conservatory or porch in a semi-dormant state. If you put them somewhere warm like the kitchen, for example, they will continue growing. Because we've got much shorter days and longer nights, they won't produce any flowers, so you'll just get lots of long leggy growth. So it's best to put them, as I say, either in the cold greenhouse in a dormant state, or in a heated greenhouse where it's just above freezing, or in a conservatory or a porch. Now, the first thing we need to do is obviously take them out of the basket. There's other things in here that I don't really want. This begonia. For example, we'll get rid of that. Now, what have we got in here? We've got helichrysum labels. I'll keep the labels. This is the helichrysum here. Let's just get rid of that. That again is an annual. It won't survive the winter. Let's get this fuchsia out of here. Pretty much come out. Don't knock too much of the soil off, but what we do want to actually do is trim some of the roots off. And we want to keep the plant label. Let's get rid of that. Now what I will do is I'll trim off some of this root. I think I've shown, well, if you've seen my pelargonium video, you see that I do actually give my secateurs a wipe over. It just tries to stop any infection from one plant to another. And I cut off a few of the roots. Now, if you put that in the greenhouse, obviously it's going to take up a lot of space. We want to get rid of all the leaves anyway, to try and reduce any fungal infections. But what I'm actually going to do is actually cut off some of these stems. So just above the leaf node, you'll see that there's an old scar there. So I'm just going to go over there. This one, you can see there's a little sprout there, but as that's going mainly upwards, I'll just trim off above there. This one, if there's actually that's a crossing branch, so I'll probably get rid of that. Yeah, and then I'll get rid of that one. Yeah. You can see it's a much smaller plant. Get rid of these branches into my compost heap. There's a snail there, then we'll dispatch him. Now, as these are going to be dormant, they're not going to grow, so you don't need to have a huge pot, you just need one where the roots will fit. And that one looks like it will do fine. Obviously the bigger the pot, the less or the fewer you'll get in the greenhouse. So I'm going to put that in that pot. Actually, I'm not happy about that lower branch there, so let's get rid of him. If you were doing larger fuchsias, you'd do the same thing, but obviously if it was in a large pot, you'd keep it in the pot. But you'd still do the same thing and cut it back quite hard, quite severely. Because fuchsias put on so much growth in a year. You can see from this plant here, this is all this season's growth. So that's what it's put on this year. So that's a little bit better. Tuck the roots in there. And this is a moist compost. The two rules, or the two things to keeping fuchsias over winter is: one, don't let them dry out, and two, don't let the frost get to them. but you don't want to water them too much because they are in a dormant state, but you just don't want the roots to dry out. So maybe just give it a check every week or so. The other thing is obviously put the label back in there. I like to keep these labels. I know some people don't, but it just gives me an idea that when I'm actually putting them back into baskets next spring, I know what colour it is, and also whether it's a trailing variety or a standard variety. Not a standard variety, an upright variety or a trailing variety. And I'll just lift this one out of here, and that's the plant tag for that one, and it's pink marshmallow, and it's a trailing. It didn't trail too much, it's more upright. We'll get that out of there. Now, tease that through there. So as I say, all of this growth is this year. The fuchsias put on an awful lot of growth. By keeping them over winter rather than just throwing them away, as soon as they do start sprouting in the spring, you can take cuttings from them. I actually took some cuttings earlier on in the year, well, all through the year really, and this is one of a few of the plants that I just stuck in a pot. So it's the same thing. We want to get rid of all the leaves and reduce the size so we can get more in the greenhouse. That's actually a crossing stem, so we'll take that one out to there. You see that's quite a nice flower coming there, but we'll get rid of them. The best time to do this is well, anyway, up from late September really, but we want to do it before the frosts. Let's take that one out to there. Don't worry about leaving them too long, because in the spring you can obviously come back and take them down a little bit more. That one out there because it's crossing. Give the roots a bit of a haircut. And we'll put that one into something like that. This is another fuchsia that I've pulled out of a basket. I kept the plant tag. This is a variegated fuchsia. It's a good idea to not water for a couple of days before you're actually going to cut these back hard. Otherwise you actually just get dieback, and the dieback just means that if you cut to a leaf node, you'll actually get the stem or the branch will actually die back further than the leaf node, or leaf joint. I'm just going to have a tidy up here again. Just sterilise the secateurs. This is just white spirit I'm using here. Go in here. If you see any bugs or snails or slugs or snails, get rid of them. Get rid of some of these roots, well, some of the longer roots anyway. Get rid of any crossing branches. Get rid of some of these longer ones. If you've got a standard fuchsia, which is one that grows on a long stem, and then you have the actual plant or the growth at the top, again you just want to prune it back to one or two leaf nodes. might need to sharpen my secateurs. Get rid of any leaf. So get rid of a lot of the straggly bits, all the weak growth. Obviously if we've got any green stuff, that's where the disease is likely to enter into the plant. Get rid of that large root, and there we go, that will go in there nicely. Some more of this moist compost. Shake that down by the roots. Now if you do need to water these, as I said, you need to keep them on the damp side. Give them a little bit of water when they have dried out. I would tend to do that in the morning, and then it gives the plant time to actually absorb all the moisture, and any excess will actually drain out. And that is probably what they'll look like in the spring. This one I've done a few weeks ago, and it's actually put on a little bit of green growth because we've had some warm days, but I'm going to just trim that off. Yeah, pull any leaves off as they appear over the next few weeks. Now put that in properly. Look out any. Just want to check there's any slugs or snails in here. See, it's got a nice root growth. Put that in there. Oh, I've got that plant label in that one. It doesn't really matter if you don't have the plant labels. You'll soon be able to tell whether they're trailing or not. This is pink ballet girl. Pink ballet? Yeah, pink ballet girl. That would be a perfect plant for putting in a semi-dormant area, like the conservatory or the heated greenhouse. So I'm just going to carry on potting these up. These are the ones that I've done. Thanks very much for your time. If you've got any questions, please post them below.